Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We are back in our starter village to make another addition, this starter fantasy house. I'm trying my best to come up with unique designs and want your feedback if you like fantasy style builds like this. Before we start, I want to thank my YouTube members and patrons for your continued support. With that said, let's begin. Here are the materials that you need. So to do the layout, so we're going to start off by grabbing our 1 meter beam. So we're going to set one right here, and then we're going to grab our 2 meter beam and just place 1, 2 like that. On this side, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you're going to place a 2 meter beam right here. And then for this part, you're going to get a 1 meter beam, place it right here. Then you're going to place 1, 2, 3, 4. Then on this side here, we're going to place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now right at the end here, you're going to switch to your door. Grab your door. You're going to set the snapping point to the end here. Snap that right there. And you can just grab a 1 meter beam and just snap it to the end of the door like that. And then we're going to go over here. That we're going to place a 1 meter beam again right here. And then 1, 2. And then we're going to place a 2 meter beam right here. And then we're going to place a door on this end. Grab a 1 meter beam. Place it at the ending of that door. And then we just connect this. We'll just place a 1 meter beam here like that. And that's good. Alright, so to do this build, we're going to start off with a 45-degree wall. So we're going to start off on the right side here. I'm going to place that in. I'm going to switch to a 26-degree wall. Place that right here. Then we're going to place a 26-degree beam in, and then we're going to place an X over it so that we can create a snapping point, and we'll just snap that right in the middle there and bring this all the way down to the ground so that we can support this section here. We're going to repeat the same thing on the back here. Just copy everything. 45, 26-degree wall, then a 26-degree beam. Then we throw the X on top of that. Use the 2 meter pole, bring it all the way down to the ground. Gonna take this X out and gonna take out the 26-degree beam. You just going to place a 1x1 wall, snap that in, make the top of it in line with the beam, and just bring this all the way down to the ground. I'm gonna snap a 2 meter wall right here and block that off. Now over here, we're going to grab our 26-degree beam. I'm gonna place one here. And then we're going to place another right here. Then we're going to place a 45-degree beam right here and one right there. Now we're going to snap a 45-degree beam, 45X. Snap that over this beam here. And then we're going to switch over to a 45-degree beam and go to the bottom, set the snap point to the bottom and snap that right in the middle like that. Take out the X. And then you're going to finish this off with a 26-degree beam top. It should hold up, but you can just make sure just to put the beam here just to support it. Then what you're going to do on the back here, pretty much going to repeat the same thing you've done here at the front. So 26-degree beam, another 26-degree beam, switch to a 45-degree beam. And then another 45-degree beam, grab your X, snap it over your 45-degree beam. Then switch to a 45-degree beam and snap it to the middle of the X, take out the X, and then finish it off with a 26-degree beam up top. Then you can place a beam here just to support it temporarily, just to make sure that we have this shape here down. Next thing that you're going to do, you're just going to grab your 26-degree beam. Now on this side here, you're going to rotate using a 45-degree beam. So you're going to aim at this snapping point here, rotate the beam one time, 2 times, snap that in. Then the next beam that you add, you rotate that once like that, and then the next one, rotate it once, and then go switch over to the other side right here. We're just going to rotate it 1, 2, snap that in, rotate once, snap that in, rotate once, snap that in. You should have it looking like that. Next thing that you're going to do, so we're on the right side over this area here. So we're going to switch to our 45-degree X, and we're going to set the snap point to the bottom. So it's going to be 1, 2. So this second point here, for the beam here, and then we skip 1, 2, then we snap another one. Now right in the middle here, we're going to take our 2-meter beam and 2-meter pole, and then we snap that right in, and we'll snap another right on top, snap this in as well. And then what you're going to do is that you're going to use this thatch roof. Just grab some 45-degree thatch roof and just place these in so that the pole can pretty much be supported by the roof. We can take out the X, and then right up here we're going to place a 1-meter beam on the left, right, and 1, 2, like that. Then we just grab our 45-degree beam and we just snap it the end of these like that. We're gonna make a triangle up, so we're just gonna grab the X, snap it at the top here, switch to regular 45-degree beam, snap those in the middle like that, take out the X, and we should end up with something looking like that. Next thing we're going to do, so we'll just focus on this part here. So it's going to do the front and the back. So the same thing we would do here, the front, you're going to repeat it on the back here. So we're going to grab our X, 26-degree X, snap it right into the 26-degree beam like that. And we're just going to grab a 2-meter pole. We're just going to rotate this 1, 2 times like this. We're going to try to carry this all the way down, but because it's not much support there, we're just going to put something here in place. Well, let's use the thatch roof so that we can piggyback support off of it. We're just going to place a 26-degree beam here and place one right here. We can take the 2-meter beam we place here for now, and we're just going to bring this down so we can get it to touch the thatch roof. Good. And we'll just bring it all the way down to the ground like that. And then we're going to snap one more right here, bring this down all the way down to the ground like that. Right here, there's a snapping point here. You're going to place a 2-meter. Then we're going to place a 1-meter pole under that 2-meter pole. Then we're just going to place a 2-meter pole here. And then the last one is going to be a 1-meter pole right there. So we're just going to go in the back, and we're pretty much repeating the same thing we've done with the front. Place a X over the 26-degree beam, so we can get the snapping point, rotate it 2 times. Now we don't have thatch roof to piggyback the support. We can just place some pieces down so that it can get some support. So we're just going to place some thatch roof pieces right here just temporarily, and we just bring this down before it breaks. We can hit the ground like that, and place another here, bring this all the way down to the ground, and we're just going to place a 2-meter beam, 1-meter beam underneath it, another 2-meter beam right here, and then a 1-meter beam right here. And that pretty much finishes that off. So the next thing that we're going to do, I'm going to do things a little bit different. Now usually I don't do like the layout of the inside of the build, but in this case here I'm going to do that because it connects with some of the roof pieces here. So we're on the left side of the build here, and we're just going to switch to a 26-degree thatch roof. We're just going to snap that in 1 and 2. I'm pretty much going to go all the way over with this like that, and go back over like this. And what we're going to do is going to grab your half wall. You're just going to pretty much rest it right on top of the thatch roof here. We're just going to take this out. We're just going to leave this in like that. And we're going to move inside here. And what we're going to do is that we're going to grab your 2x2 floor and place one. So where you have the 1-meter pole, you're going to snap that into that part there and snap one right there. And you're just going to bring this over all the way over here, touching this wall. Now for right here, you're pretty much going to skip this part and just connect the piece here and here. Now for the front of this, you're just going to connect using 1x1 floor. Just going across like that. And then you're just going to bring this back here. And where you have the half wall, you can snap these on like that. And you're going to snap one in like that, and then just snap a floor in like that right there. We're just gonna leave this part open for now. We may have to tweak this to set up the staircase to get up here. Now, once we have that in place, we're going to add our 26-degree, well, rather 45. So it's going to place the remaining ones here, one here, and right here, we'll just have it to the last part here. We have the 45, and then right here be 26, like that. Now for here, it's going to be a little bit different. Grab a 2-meter pole beam and snap it to the end here, like this. The pole should be pretty much parallel to this beam here. So let's rotate this. That, yeah, so it's lines up with that. And you just add 45-degree beam right here. And we're gonna have one snapped on top of it like that. We're gonna have another that snaps in like that. Just do this first. Snap this in like that. And then right here, rotate it. And let the piece here just flow at an angle like this. Place one here. And over here, let's do the same thing like that. Now for right here, you're going to place a 1-meter beam. You're going to do the same thing on this side too. Then grab your 45-degree beam, set the snap point to the top, snap it to the end here. Do the same thing on the other side. Snap it to the end like that. Pretty much covers up the hole that was right there. And we just can add this in. We'll just get our 26-degree beam, touch roof. And it should be looking like that so far. Right here, we're gonna have to add a half wall. Let's bring that over just a bit, like that. Then bring this all the way over. Hopefully it's touching, it should be touching the hatch roof. Nope, we may have to add a little bit more support here. So it's gonna grab for 45-degree roof in a corner right here. So this one's a little bit tricky, but we're just going to try to do this so that we can have a nice clean roof inside. So it's going to snap that in like that. Do the same thing on the other side. Set the snap point to the end, snap that in like that. So there should be enough support so we can bridge this part over like that. It's right in the middle here. So we're just going to add the 45-degree attached roof. Now, all you're going to do is that you're going to add a 1-meter beam, snap right here. Now, if it's breaking, then we might need to give it a little bit more support because it's not supported properly. We can get support from the side here. So what we can do is that we can just bring this down temporarily just to get some support. Place a 1-meter beam in like that. Switch to the roof in a corner, 45-degree, and we're going to rotate, set it to the end, one of the ends, and we're just going to bring that down like that. Snap that piece in like that, and we just gonna get another like that. We can take this out because it's touching the other roof piece, so you can get support. Now just look a little dirty here. We're just gonna take that piece out, and we take this one out. We grab our 45-degree beam, and we can just aim right at the back of this piece here we just placed like that. So it looks cleaner inside. This is the best that we can do. We can't to fight it. We can take out a little piece here and make little adjustments here and there, like what I'm doing right now. Just place this in by placing like a 1-meter beam right here, and just use that point to snap this in a bit more. It doesn't show too much on the inside like that. But we can cover this up by maybe taking this here and just bring it all the way down like that. Cover all of that, all of the flaws, and maybe place another attached roof right there just to cover all of that up. So you can see this is what it was before, and this is how it looked after. So it takes some time and playing around with the roof pieces here, just to get a nice clean looking roof underneath. Take this out and just snap that roof there on it like that. Look, that looks way better. And then right up the top here, we just patch that out. Now right up here, we just going to clean this up just a little bit. So we're just gonna get a 2-meter beam here. We're just gonna snap that in like that. The front, on the front here, just go all the way to the back with it like this. Just do the other side like that. And just check to see if everything is covered. You don't have any holes or anything in your house so that the rain doesn't affect you. Looks good, and we can just leave that as is. We'll just take out this X here, we no longer need it. And then we can just switch to 45-degree thatch roof and just bring this over like this. Let's do the other side. And then we'll just grab a 45-degree roof ridge and do the top here. So we can do place a 1-meter beam and just snap it to the end of that 1-meter beam and just take the beam out. But everything's connected nicely right there. And then what was gonna happen is that we're gonna put a wall, and we're just pretty much carrying this all the way over the other side like that. We have a little hole here, so we may have to bring this roof ridge over just a bit, just to kind of cover that hole thing that is, yeah, it's gonna show. Yeah, I might as well sacrifice this, prefer see this than see the hole here. So you can just go ahead and just do that. And then right up the top here, what you can do is neat it up by placing a beams going across. Just kind of flow with what we have right here. Yeah, so you guys can go ahead and just place the walls here to cover this that section here. Just come all the way over, and then we're gonna tweak it afterwards. The next thing we're gonna do once we've added the roof piece here and added the walls here, I've added the 45-degree upside down wall here just to frame this out. So now we're going to focus on adding the chimney right here. So you can go ahead and place your 26-degree attached roof right here just to patch that out. And right here, we're going to place a 1-meter beam right underneath the holes we placed earlier. And this is going to guide us to frame out the chimney here. So I like to use the back part of the wall to frame out the chimney. We're just going to snap one over here, rotate this. I want to go to the back for this one, and the same thing like that. We're just going to leave an opening there for us to interact with the fire. And we're just going to bring this all the way up. Up here, we can take this out because this is going to block our fire. Place a 1-meter beam here. We can place back our roof ridge. Then we just spin this around, show the back part, bring this all the way up like this. Now once we're up here, we're just going to switch to a half wall. We're just showing the back part of it. And then once we're up here, we switch to our 26-degree wall. We'll just place one like this, rotate it. Then we'll rotate it to show the high part to meet the other high part, and then the low part and the high part meets on the other side like that. So chimney should look like this. And what you can do, you can also block this part off as well. Get a 45-degree upside down wall. Just patch that out. And pretty much can do the same thing on the other side here. You're going to leave an opening, and it's going to place your 1x1 wall here. And for inside here, just going to place on this side too, going all the way up. So leave the little opening here. We're going to have a little balcony here. So it's going to grab our flooring. So it's going to be 4 meters. So it's going to be like a 4x4 meter box here for the balcony, the shape of the balcony. We just take this out here, and we're just going to box this up. Well, let me just add the wall here just to patch this out nicely. Let's get a 45-degree wall here. Now for right here, we're just gonna get to a 1 meter beam, just box this in. And then what you're gonna do, grab your core wood, you're just gonna use that, just place it right on top of the wood like that. And you're just going to place a 1 meter pole at the end here, one right here, one here, one here, and you don't have to place one right there. Doesn't make any sense. Just grab our 2 meter beam, place it on top of the core wood. We can take the core wood out, and then we just use the snapping point provided from that first beam we placed to get something looking like that. So right here, you can see that we need to add some thatch roof because it's open. So we're just going to place a 45-degree right here. If you're having problems, just place a 1 meter beam in that 2 meter beam there so you can get that snapped in. And then you just finish it off by adding 26-degree beam like that. We have to do something here too. So 45. Put a 1 meter beam right here. Create that snapping point. Snap that in and snap a 45-degree beam. We'll just put a wall here. Use a 1x1 wall. And block this out. Like that. And do it over here as well. And we have to touch up little areas there like that. And we may have to touch up underneath here too. So we pretty much have a basic form of the structure here without any details. To kind of give you an idea, this is how it should look pretty much. But we're just gonna add the seasoning that gives the build a flavor. So it's a detailing time. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna focus on this little part here. We're just gonna grab our 1x1 wall, and we're just gonna fill this part out like that. And we're just gonna grab our 2.5-meter wall. Oh, we may have to bring this down just a little bit. It feels a little bit too small. So we're just going to take that out. We're just going to use like a core wood. Just make that snapping point for us. We'll set the snapping point to the top. Snap that in. A nice window. Good size window. We're just going to place a beam here. And then we're going to, for the side, we're just going to place a 2-meter pole. Rotate it 2 times so that the edge of the wood is facing us. Place that in nicely like that. Switch to your fine wood. We're gonna use tools, and we're gonna place about like 4 of these beside each other like this, and then another row like that. And we have to squeeze in another one here. You may have a little bit of an issue to get this one in. Like right here, you would have to take out the root piece here just to place that in because it's going to show red. It's just because I'm using a mod that forced me to, I can force it in. But you can take these out and place this on top so if you have any difficulty doing so. And then right here, right at the top here, we're just going to place, I'm holding down on shift key, manually placing this beam here up top like that. And then we're just going to grab a 1 meter beam and rotate this right into the wall like that. Now we may have to tweak this just a bit, maybe just to bring this over. Let's set the snapping point to the end here and just kind of hold down on the shift key just to manually place that in. And then we can just do that again like that. Rotate that once to go put that in. And then right at the bottom here, we're gonna do a window ledge, but I want it to be like a 0.5 meter window ledge instead of 1 meter. So we're just gonna use the door to get that extension, 5 extension, and do something like this. Rotate it once, going into the wall like that. Now it looks a bit flat because as you can see right here, everything just lines up. Right here, it's popping, but we need to pop this out some more. So we're just going to grab that 26-degree beam, manually place it right up top. I made sure that the bottom here is in line with the one behind it. And then we're just going to snap this one behind it. And then we switch to a 45-degree, snap that in, and bring this all the way down like that. Still looks a little bit flat to me, so let's juice it up a little bit more. And rotate this, set the snapping point to bottom, make sure that the pole is pretty much the top here, it's in the the angle beam here, and we just can bring this all the way down to the ground like that. So as you can see, it's alright, so right at the bottom here, so we're just going to take out the bottom pole here, and we're just going to place snap a door to the side here to the beam that goes across to do the layout. And we're just going to take another door, we're just going to snap that right beside that door like that, and pretty much place a couple of these doors going across side by side each other like this. Now once you have that done, you can take this out, don't need that anymore. Just gonna grab a 1 meter beam here, rotate this 1, 2, set the snapping point to the edge here, and we're just going to place it at the first snapping point here for the door, and then we're gonna place one in the middle. And yeah, we're just pretty much using all the snapping points provided here, just going all the way over to the other side of the front here. Now for this part, you maybe have to rotate this so that the beam is not showing on that side here. Just rotate that, and then we can take the doors out, and it's gonna have a nice little detail here at the base. But we're not gonna leave it as is. We're gonna add a bit more just to, you know, finish it off. We're just gonna set the snapping point here to the end, hold down on shift key, and we're sliding this back just a bit. We can put this back in like that, and then we're just going to bring this all the way over. Let's get a 1 meter beam here like that, and then for the bottom here, set the snapping point to the edge and hold down on shift key and manually place this in just a bit. This is an interesting look here. We can slide just the positioning of the beam here, but we're not going to do that, but that's can give you an idea what you can do in the future. But we're going to place this right here, just be in line with the pole here, and just bring this all the way over like that. And look at that, that's a nice little touch there, and you can see that this area is popping out more. So we're now going to focus on this side. So the next thing that we're going to do, we're just going to work on the front here. We're just going to grab our regular floor, 2x2 floor, just place these in, kind of box this up a bit, and we're just going to get some 2 meter beams here to place here at the front like this. And then what we're going to do is going to work on our doorway here. We're going to grab our 1x1 wall, and we're going to leave our opening here. We're just going to get the wooden gate and just place that in, just to mark that area out. We're going to have a window right here. So what we're going to do is just going to get a half wall, and we're just going to place that right there. Now this piece here, we're going to swap this angle beam, switch it to the 26-degree wall. We're just going to place that in, get to your half wall, rotate it, and box that in. We're going to take this out for now. We're going to do something different with that. Actually, we can do it now. Let's take this out here. We're just going to grab our 45-degree beam, and it's going to rotate this once like that. See? So, like that. Leave it there as is. Now for right here, it's going to be using beams here just to clean this area up like this, and place a beam right here, and then we're going to use the stools and do the window here. So just remember, when you reach to the top here, you may have to take these out so that you can add the stools, and then you can put these back in. So I'm just going to complete this off screen. Now that once you're done with the window here, I've went ahead and added the lattice design here to this section here. But as you can see, when you look at it, it still looks flat with the roof line here, pretty much in line with everything else here. So we just need to make this pop some more. So a simple thing that we can do, just grab a 26-degree beam, starting from the top here. We're just going to place a beam here. I'm just going to set it on auto so I can get this to come out some more. Switch over to 45-degree beam, pretty much come down all on the line here. Right here, you're gonna have to use your X to place that there, so you can place a beam right inside the X, and then you switch to 26-degree beam. You're pretty much following the line of the roof line here. You're just adding another layer here just to give it depth. And then right here, we're just going to add a 45-degree beam. As you can see, that made a world of difference. But right here is flat as well. Also, we just need to wall this area up. So Also, I removed the roof here so I can add these at the bottom stools here properly. So seeing that that's done, I can just put this back in like that. We're just gonna add a roof, a wall here just to block that up. Let's do this wall here properly. Snap that in from the top and then bring it down to the bottom like that. We're just gonna maybe place a beam here just to cover that little straw effect here. I don't like to see too much. Now for the doorway here, we're just going to use a beam. We'll set the snapping point to the edge here. We can do that, or we can set it to auto and do it like this, whichever way works. Place a 1 meter beam here, and then the next one that follows is going to be another 1 meter beam, but rotate it once to go into the wall like that. And then we're going to do our door jam here just to make this pop some more. Set the snapping point to bottom. We're just going to line this up manually, holding down on shift key. Doing the same thing on the other side, just line that up properly. And then we just bring this all the way down to the ground like that. And now we're going to work on this area here. We're just going to place a forward right on top. And then we're going to place a 1 meter pole, rotate it so that the edge of the wood is facing us. And we're just doing something like that. So we're just going to use a beam here just to mark the snapping point for us. And pretty much we are done. And what we can do, we should maybe move this over just a bit. So maybe I have to make a little adjustment here. So let's place a 1 meter beam here and push this over. And then we can do the same thing on this side. Take this beam out, pull out rather, and just place that in like that. We can pretty much just add a few in between here like this. Just take that out and do one right here as well. I think that's pretty much the theme here, this part. And we just add a 26-degree stairs right here. If you're having trouble getting that in, just place a 1 meter beam right in there just to get that, make that snapping point so you can snap the stairs in like that. The next thing you're going to do is that you're going to carry this design over and around pretty much, and we're just going to snap it to the last beam that we have right here. Just snap the door on it. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to start about right here. Make sure to rotate the beam 2 times. So 1, 2, what we need to do, we'll just take these out, and we're just going to snap the door there, going over. So make sure that they're snapped side by side and not overlapping each other. Like what I did just now. Rotate that. Snap these. So make sure that it's the right snapping point that you're using here. Looks the same? Yep. Just making sure. Right here, we're gonna have to be done different. Rotating this out the other way. And we just bring this over as well. We may have to just adjust this just a little bit by placing the door or so. So we want it to start maybe about, I think there is fine. Let's kind of look at it, see if it's okay. Yeah, we can work with that. And yeah, bring this around. You can see it's starting to pop some more, and can pretty much repeat the same steps going around the side here. So now that we are finished with the front here and we added a nice detail here, we're going to move on to this side. We're gonna add a bit more to this area here, as it looks a little bit flat and not much flavor is going on here, pretty much plain. So we're just going to grab our 45-degree wall and we're just going to snap it right here, as you can see, like that. And then we're going to switch over to our 26-degree wall. We'll snap that right there. We're going to get a half wall and the snap right underneath that, and we can get a full wall and snap right underneath the 45-degree wall. Now once we have that in place, we're going to switch to our 26-degree beam and we're going to set that, make sure that it's in line with the 26-degree wall like that. Then we switch on over to a 45-degree beam and snap that in. Switch back to a 26-degree beam, snap that in, and then we're going to switch to a 20-degree X, snap that in. Also switch to grab your 45-degree X to snap that in, because we're going to use those snapping points. Well, that's on the X. Switch over to your 1 meter beam. Well, preferably let's do, now we could, you have the option to either use a door or just place the beam as is, but I'm gonna go with the door. So I'm just gonna place the door, one here, one here, one here. There's gonna be one here, and I think there's one more supposed to be here. So let me just skip the 23 X. Let me snap that in right there. I think that's it. Or is it using the door? Let me just make sure, just aim at the bottom here. It was using the door. And then one door right here. So we're gonna get our 1 meter beam, and we're just gonna snap it at the end of the door. Take this one out, end of the door, take this one out, end of the door, take this one out, the door, take this one out, door, take this one out, one right here, take this one out. And also we're gonna place a beam into this X here, and we can take that X out and take the other X's out as well. So we should have something looking like this. See how this really pops out more. And right here, I think we maybe leave it as is, or we can, you know, slide a beam if it is we can work like something like that. Yeah. This can be as is. We just leave it as is. We don't want to add too much, because sometimes less is more. And in this case here, I think this is all good. Now pretty much just go ahead and repeat the same thing on this side. You don't have to go all the way up here, but you can just do it from this point. So once we're done with the right side here, adding this detail here, so we're moving on over to the left side here. So what you're going to do is that right here, just want you to take notice of this. So earlier when we did the flooring, we followed a certain path and snapping point. As you can see, like this half wall here, pretty much in line with the roof pieces here that we have placed here, starting from this side going across. You know that there's a little bit of adjustment here with the door. So if it is that you followed from this side and have these in place here in line with the roof piece, then you shouldn't have a problem doing this part. Now it's to find the center point that will connect to this, make everything line up. Now you're gonna need to, you're gonna have to use the door for this. And this middle piece here, which is the 1, 2, 3, the third row here, you're going to snap a door, and then you're going to snap another one beside it. Now you're going to get a 2-meter pole, and you're going to use a middle snapping point for the last door you place here, and place another. You should have it looking like this going through the center. It's not 100% centered, but it's close enough, so we can work with that. Now take out the door, because we don't want to use snapping points, and we're going to switch to a 45-degree wall, and we're just going to use the snapping point provided by the beam, the pole here, and place these in. Now you can take out the pole for now, and what you're going to do is that you're going to clean this area up. As you can see, it doesn't look that good, so we're going to grab our 45-degree beam, and we're manually placing this in. Make sure it's pretty much in line with the beam that is behind it. I think that's good enough. And we just place another one up top. We just go over here. Just make sure that everything is lined up properly, and kind of cover the edge there. And then we snap another right there. And then you're going to bring it down here. Snap a piece here, the last piece here. You're going to rotate this so that it's pretty much parallel to the other beam here that we placed here a long time. And then pretty much doing the same thing on the other side. So just rotate it once right here. This is supposed to be out, and then we do one here like that. We're going to touch up the back later on. So we have that set up here. Now we're going to grab the 45-degree wall, and we're going to snap that right in just to kind of cover the little hole that we have there like that. You're going to have something looking like this. If you don't like to see this, there's another option. You can take this out and just grab the door, and you can shimmy this over. So we're just going to snap the door right here, set the snapping point for the 45-degree, and set it to the bottom. We're just going to bring this over just a bit like that's great. Not too much. As you can see, it's not affecting our little window here that we're going to use. And we can do the same thing over here. Just take this out, take the door, and we're just going to set the snapping point. Bear in mind as to where you snap the door. If you snap it in like this, it won't help you. You just have to set the snapping point so that it goes to the right and more towards the window opening. So bear that in mind. And then we're going to the bottom snapping point. There we go. Maybe go a little bit more. Yeah. So you're not getting that little the wood showing there. So the roof looks a little bit cleaner. And then we can take out the door. And then we just pretty much throw in the pole here. We set the snap point to the bottom. Throw that in nicely. Then we throw in the beams here like that and kind of finish it up the window here. Now right here it's a little bit flat, so we're just going to add more detail. And to do that is just basically we can just manually place this in. We can eyeball it, or we can create a snapping point, whichever works. So I can either do like a place a 1 meter pole here and just put a door so I can get snapping point, so I can make things line up properly. So let's place this in and just starting off with like that, and then we'll just place another 45-degree wall on the other side just to finish it off with something like that. And then we can just grab our 1 meter pole and we can snap it to the top here, either to this or this, which one you prefer, and pretty much finishing it off like that. And that is our window for that side. So next place we're going to work on is the back part of the build. So right around here, well, I didn't do that much, but if it is that it's like this, or you might have blocked it up, then you maybe have to update it. So we're going to start off with right here. So we're just going to swap this out for a 26-degree wall instead of a regular 26-degree beam, and change this to a 45-degree wall. And we're just going to place a half wall here just to block this up. We're going to place a full wall right here, block that up, and pretty much leave it like that. That's going to be our wall. Now right here is where we're going to make use of this height, because this was pretty much coming from the top, coming all the way down. So we're just going to use that to our advantage. We're going to frame out our window. Now we're going to add, so right here is where the window is going to stop at the top here. So we're going to place a beam. We're just going to connect it to that last 1 meter pole right here. And we're just pretty much going to bring this all the way down like that. So that's going to be our window. So for right here, and we're going to grab a 1x1 wall. We'll just place that in like that. There's going to be a little adjustment here. So just to make sure everything lines up properly. So we're just going to bring this floor just over a bit like that. We're just going to grab our 1x1 floor. This place is here. So we're just going to make an opening for our staircase here. So let's add that in while we're here, because it's all connected. So we're just going to snap a 45-degree stairs right there, and just bring this all the way down to this point. Space for you to get around and walk up. Right here, you're just going to fill this out 1x1 floor. You can cover this area too as well. Or we can just add a beam here just to clean this up a bit. We can use this spot for storage. Now, once we have that in, we can just bring this over. Should have enough headroom to go. Yep, we have enough headroom. And we just clean this part right here. Like that. And right here, we're going to place a beam. So just like what we did with the front here, we're going to add stools. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this off screen and show you what I've done so far. So after adding the stools, this is what I have so far. I placed some poles here just to kind of frame this window out, so you can go ahead and do that. Now the next thing we're going to do, add in some more detail here, because it's everything is still flat looking, so we have to juice this up a bit. So we're just going to grab our 45-degree beam. We're going to place this right in front of the one we have there, and we're gonna place an X here. We'll place a 45-degree beam over that, and then a 26-degree beam. So let's add this in for depth. 45-degree beam. Finish this off like that, just like what we did with the front, coming all the way down. All right, and then right here we want to pop this out some more. We like to add a 2-meter beam. I'm gonna set the snapping point to the edge of the 2-meter beam, and we can take a 1-meter beam and just gonna wrap that into, so it flows with the balcony that we have set up here. And then we're just gonna place a 2-meter beam here, and we can place we'll need to make this adjust this a little bit. So we're gonna place a door, and I just like the door where you can just make a little bit of adjustment, because the 2-meter beam would be too much. As you can see, it shows a little bit here. So we can use the door and adjust it just a bit, push it back just a bit like that. We take out the door, and we are good like that. And then for the window, we're just gonna add a window ledge, get our 1x1 floor, place that right here at the front. We could make this a little bit smaller, but I don't want to mess with the space that we have right here to get up to the stairs, because we have to bear in mind of that. So I'm just gonna keep it with this same width here. So we're just gonna add that nice window ledge here. We could use stools for this, or we could just go with a much more quicker solution here by just using fences, and we can slide this, position this in a way so that it goes into the wall. Well, prefer it show on the inside than the outside. So there's a little bit of adjustment, tweaking here, something like this. Yeah, we can get something looking like that. A simple window, and we can get some shutters. We can throw some shutters on this bad boy here. We're just gonna rotate this. Bam. Let's do right here too. And there we go. Now at the base here, we definitely need to do something with the base. And what we're gonna do, we're going to pretty much repeat the same steps there that we did here for the front, because this is like a theme that we have going on. So we want to, keep on doing that. So we're just going to place a door at the end here, and place another door like this, and then we just place doors side by side going all the way over to the other side. And then we basically just grab our 1-meter beam, rotate it 2 times, set it to the end here, and just snap these in all the way over. So I'm just going to go ahead and complete this off screen, but I'm going all the way over until I'm right underneath here. Okay, so this is what I have so far. As you can see, we have the nice little detail there at the bottom here. We're going to carry this around too. So the last beam that I placed here, I placed the door this way, and then placed another door this way to kind of make sure that everything lines up, properly. And so let's bring this around, and we just snap these in. It may have a little bit of trouble here. Let me just take this wood out so I can place these in. So just making sure that the bottom of the wood, let's just rotate it 2 times. 1, 2. Yep, got it. Alright, so once we have this in place, so the next thing we're going to do is hold down on Shift key, and then we're going to manually place this in. We're just going to start from the corner here. So place that in like that, and then we can place the other one using that snapping point. And we just place a 1-meter beam right there, and just bring this all the way over to this side like that. Now we could make it stay like this, or we can just add this to it just to kind of finish it off, which is nice to have. Just manually place this one in, overlapping just a bit like that, and you pretty much can just do the same thing right here and finish this section off. The final thing that we're going to do right here, I've made a little bit of adjustment right here. As you can see, I removed the pole that was here that was connected to this part of the structure. So what I've done is that I took out the pole, and there's a little gap that was left here. Let me just remove that for you. Let me just take the pole out. So it's gonna have like a little gap right there, as you can see. But how I fixed it, use the forward, set the snapping point to be at the top. Make sure that you're aiming at this pole here, and then you just grab your 1 meter pole, rotate it, just make sure that it's positioned like with the edge of the wood facing you, and snap that in. So it's pretty much in line with everything. You won't see this poking out and so it look a bit funny. Now right here, because this wall is flat and I hate seeing like a flat wooden wall, yeah, it grinds my gear. So I can't just leave it like this. So what I've done here, what I've done here is I placed a 2 meter pole. I pretty much just manually place this in, and just place it going all the way down, and then I'll just go over here and just kind of just eyeball it a bit. I could just do like a proper space in with like 2 meter or 1 meter, whichever. But it's nothing fancy really is needed. So I can just throw these in and just make this a little bit, you know, pleasing to look at. And then right here at the base, we can just maybe get some half wall. We're just gonna snap this here at the base here. Just gonna bring this over. I could just do like the longer version here, just all the way over here, and then just finish it off with a smaller one right here, like that. And this maybe just place like a 2 meter beam over on top of these. Make sure that that's not a problem there, and that's pretty much it. And one final thing that we're gonna do right here, it's the chimney area. Just wanted to show you the opening here. What you're gonna do inside the chimney, just grab a 45-degree beam. You're just gonna place it all the way up here. This is gonna be used to protect your campfire from the rain. So once you place a campfire here, if it is raining, this angle beam will protect it from rain damage. So you just place that in. If you have fire hazard on, this is not safe. This space is not safe, so it would have to be like, instead of 2 meters, it would be 2.5 meters box, just to be safe, so that it doesn't catch it on fire. So the thing is that the base can be wider, and then the rest of the chimney can be remains the same. So you can make that adjustment if you were playing with fire hazard on.
And that is it. Hope you had fun building this, and don't forget to always aspire to inspire. Peace.